Kelly comes out of that, he's with Eddie Hearn, Boots is with Eddie Hearn, that's a possibility. Josh Kelly has a title, and Boots is a legacy fighter, he wants to be undisputed. But I'm told, more importantly, that right now there are talks going on between Eddie Hearn and Louis DeCubas regarding a Boots Ennis Fundora fight for November or December of this year. There are talks going on.
Him against Fundora, great fight. But I picked Fundora. Fundora it's been improving and getting better. Since he lost his fight and then became champion, he's getting better and better and better every time he fights. He's 6'8", 9", whatever, 6'9".
6'6", but still tall.
Tall motherfucker.
He hits hard, yeah.
He's got good power. And, you know, he's been knocked out, but how easy...
Mendoza.
Yes, but how easy are you gonna connect? How easy are you gonna, you know, it's not gonna...
I'm not sure. I think Boots stopped Fundora within like 3 rounds, like on some Hagler Hearns, just brutality. Yeah, I think he's just too big of a target. And I'm telling you, Mills, Boots...
The boxing community has been anticipating Jaron Boots Ennis' next target for weeks. Finally, the riddle has been unraveled. Bozy Ennis, Boots' father, has declared the team's next aim, appending the 154-pound class right away, when all necessary business has been completed. In December, a spectacular matchup with towering champion Sebastian Fundora is planned. This isn't your typical championship bout. Analysts are sharply divided on this stylistic fight, with many thinking Boots may be taking the biggest risk of his career.
Listen, the Boots was next. Boots already sound on Fundora. I think Fundora is one of the best fighters in that division, and Boots sound Fundora. So Fundora said he's going to fight Boots. So it'll probably be in December. Probably be. I'm just throwing it off because Fundora going to fight now. I think he's going to fight what, next week?
No, not next week. But I know he wants to fight as mandatory before anything else.
Yeah,
so it's still going to be a little. They haven't picked the date as far as I know.
Oh, I thought it was next month.
Oh, it might be the August 22nd card. And maybe you know more than me. I don't know.
But if it is though, that's good enough. Still good enough time for him to fight Boots.
Behind the scenes, there has already been a lot of frustration in the run-up to that possible December showdown. Boots Ennis did more than just declare Fundora to be the top priority. Additionally, he made it apparent that discussions with Vergil Ortiz Jr. are currently off the table. Boots claims that although Team Ennis worked hard to get the Ortiz fight to materialize sooner, they believe that Ortiz and Oscar de la Hoya postponed talks until it was too late. The Ennis camp has no intention of reversing direction now that interest has returned from the opposing side. Their attention is fixed on the tallest champion in the division, making it clear that Boots will make his own decisions and not wait on others.
Well, a name you didn't say is Vergil Ortiz.
Yeah, but we don't even think about him now. He made us wait. When Boots got in the ring, said we going to fight, sign a contract, and then all of a sudden, him and De La Hoya fell out, and now they all back together again. So what do you think that was? You know what I mean? At that time, they must didn't want to fight him, but you want Soundy. You want someone come on in the ring and all that stuff. So you know what I mean? I ain't talking nothing bad about him, but that's the way it seems to everybody now. You know what I mean? So he's on the back burner.
So he's kind of back of the line as far as you guys are
on the back burner. But you heard with Boots want to unify the title, all the titles. That's undisputed. And once we do that, you know what I mean?
Sebastian Fundora is a formidable opponent in boxing. Boots enters every bout with explosive athleticism, lightning-fast combos, and superior boxing intelligence. But a 6 feet 5 inches southpaw with an incredible 80-inch reach stands across the ring. Fundora is not just dependent on height. He makes full use of it to overwhelm opponents with relentless activity and pressure. This is one of the most unusual matchups in the sport because of the intriguing contrast between speed and accuracy and overwhelming size and unrelenting offense.
In both ways. I can outbox him and I can bang for sure. Because, I mean, we know how this guy fights, Xander fights. He's a good boxer, great boxer, smart boxer, but he's a boxer. He doesn't like to bang. He's the bigger guy, but, I mean, that's not something he's comfortable with. You see the condition, it wasn't meant for that. If he would have boxed, I mean, I guess he would have lost. He thought this guy had too much punch, whatever the case, he didn't want to box him. He didn't want to give him his time. So, but when the second he had stepped it up, the pressure, he got tired himself because he didn't train that way. He doesn't fight that way. we could fight both ways. There's no excuses, right? Now there's the zone, there's no excuses. I mean, not that I ever give you guys an excuse, but you know, there's all these fights. There's a lot of money to be made, man. The money's on the table. These guys roll into female, I would never, they're friends. Like, I wouldn't have expected that fight, but because they fight on the same network now, it only makes sense. And sense makes dollars.
Not everyone believes brutes can overcome such physical advantages. This might be a very risky task, according to a number of reputable boxing voices. Fundora has historically suffered most against aggressive body punchers prepared to battle inside, according to veteran trainer Robert Garcia, who has publicly questioned if the matchup is the appropriate choice. Garcia thinks Fundora's persistent push could make things much harder than many fans anticipate because Ennis frequently depends on movement and clever boxing.
Showed the heart, the skills, the power to be able to compete and dominate against any of the top 4-pounders. But he also showed that he gets clipped and he got hurt. So him against Fundora, great fight. But I picked Fundora. Fundora it's been improving and getting better since he lost his fight and then became champion. He's getting better and better and better every time he fights. He's 6'8", 9", whatever, 6'9".
6'6", but still tall.
Tall motherfucker.
He hits hard. Yeah.
He's got good power, and you know he's been knocked out. But how easy?
Mendoza.
Yes, but how easy are you gonna connect? How easy are you gonna? It's not gonna be easy. Plus,
Erickson Lubin had some success too.
Plus, like I said,
but he's still beat.
But this was before he became champion. Now that he's champion, he's getting better and better and better. So
concerns have also been voiced by former world champion Shawn Porter. Even so, he isn't solely concerned with Boots. In the face of a combatant as unique as Fundora, Porter has questioned whether Ennis regularly develops opponent-specific methods or whether they occasionally rely too much on Boots and credible natural ability. According to Porter, tactical modifications and planning may be just as crucial as natural talent.
Terence Crawford, your boy, Terence Crawford, he was asked today on Twitter, who wins, Sebastian Fundora or Boots? And he said Fundora.
Right.
Do you think he beats the two thoroughbreds of the division who may not have straps right now, but Ennis may very well have them in 3 months, but Ennis and Ortiz, there's a reason why that fight was considered one of the best fights in boxing and the best fight in the division, because they're two elite thoroughbred fighters. Do you think the dark horse now, Sebastian Fundora, beats both of them? Do you agree with Terence Crawford that he beats Jaron Ennis? See, now this performance makes you do just that, and that's
Absolutely.
The credit to his performance.
Yeah,
I think that speaks volumes of how good he looked. Is now we have to do that long pause, long thought.
Boots looks like he's supposed to beat Sebastian Fundora because he's so fast, because he's so electric, because he's shown tremendous power, because he's shown so many different movements and techniques, and everything jumps off the screen when it's Boots Ennis. But then when you got, like I always like to say, another weapon standing across from you, negating some of the things you do, forcing you to turn off some of the stuff you do. Now here's the thing that makes this guy dangerous to Boots. What I feel I know about Boots, I don't know if they game plan. To me, it seems like Boots is like, and Dad Bozy, we just gonna get you ready. Can't nobody beat you. Well, sometimes you gotta get ready for the guy across from you. And what I now know about this dude, he getting ready for who's across from him. And that's why I'm breathing like that, because I know without a shadow of a doubt, he's going to be ready, he's going to have the right weapons, and he's going to be calling on the right weapons all night long. I have no doubt about that from this dude right here. And I know with all 16 plus weapons that Boots got, Boots be like this.
Yeah.
You know, you got to, nah, bruh. With this one right here, it's got to be, all right, shotgun. Don't. All right, stab him. All right, done. You know what I mean? Like, we got to be pulling out the right things at the right time. We got to be prepared to come to the ring with 8 weapons that we know we need against this dude.
Fundora is no longer the fighter that many fans remember, which is another reason why this bout has grown so fascinating. His style has changed considerably, according to analysts like Paulie Malignaggi and Shans. Bura has become much more patient and disciplined instead of continuously lunging forward and trading blows. He's learning how to keep dangerous opponents at the end of his blows, control distance more skillfully, and make the most of his massive reach. Rather than depending solely on toughness, he is evolving a more intelligent strategy that may make him an even more challenging riddle to solve.
Yeah. Fundora is another one that makes a lot of sense, but it would be an outside of the promotion fight. So I think before you make the Fundora fight, I think you make the Kelly fight first. You know, I think Fundora can be the culmination. You know, like I said, especially that Kelly's hot at the moment. He just, like I said, he won that IBF title in an upset. I think the Fundora fight is probably an expected super fight. Like I said, Kelly, there was at one time a lot expected of him, but now because of the way he won the title in an upset and he wasn't a lot of expected of him, Ennis and Kelly isn't a super fight, but it's still a big fight. Ennis is exciting TV every time he fights. He's a guy who you know is starting to become must-see TV regardless. I think he sells pretty well on the East Coast anyway. I don't know with the Kelly fight if it winds up in the UK or if Kelly has to come to the US to fight Ennis. But again, we talk about what's next for Jaron Ennis. That has to be next for Jaron Ennis. What has to be next for Jaron Ennis, I think, is Josh Kelly. It's the easiest fight to make. There's not a lot of complications in making that fight. You make that fight, and then from there you go into the Fundora fight. You know, depending on how Ennis does and looks against Kelly. Because again, Ennis looks terrific every time he's fought. And so that's why he is this budding star. But when you are a budding star, there's also so much expectation for you to look good every single time out. So we'd have to make sure that Ennis stays consistently looking really great so that he can move on into the picture with Fundora possibly. And Fundora, of course, is a very difficult guy to deal with. Listen, Fundora is going to be difficult to deal with for anybody. And so Ennis and Fundora, I really, really would get excited for Ennis and Fundora. That's a really good fight. And for me, that's not an easy fight for either of them. That's a tough fight to call, man. I don't know. I would love to know what some of the comments think at home. And don't be biased about just because one guy you like one guy over the other. I'm talking about seriously, from a boxing perspective, Ennis and Fundora. Listen, Fundora is an all-court fight for anybody because of the height and the power that he's got at that weight. But really, to break it down, it would be interesting and it's a really weird, strange fight to try to figure out who has the advantage there. You know, because Ennis is streaking, but Fundora also seems like he's getting better and more.
Despite these reservations, a lot of reputable analysts still think Boots has the ideal skill set to beat the champion. Ennis's explosive foot speed and ability to attack the body have been cited by Tim Bradley as the keys to winning on numerous occasions. But Bradley also thinks that in order to succeed, Boots will need to step outside of his comfort zone. Instead of boxing from a distance, he will have to close the distance, withstand pressure, and engage in an intense internal battle while always taking defensive responsibility.
Could give Boots a run from his money. He could. And I only say that because of his attributes. Not because of his boxing skills. It's because of his attributes. That's why. This guy has, and it's Sebastian Fundora. You guys know who he is. He's a southpaw too, right? He has range. He has volume. He has punching power as well. Okay? He knows how to keep his distance. He's difficult. I know he's been knocked out before. I know that. But you got to go through a dang rain of fire to be able to get close to this guy if he don't want you to get close. Now, everybody's saying, well, Thurman was supposed to get whooped. I told y'all Thurman was going to get whooped too. Y'all heard it here too. Y'all said he going to get whooped. Okay? But I was studying the film the other day, and Boots has the style that I believe that can give him fits because of his elusiveness. And Boots is quick on the trigger. He's not as long as this guy, but he's not, he got about 74. This other, Fundora has about 80-inch reach. But he has a quick first step. He throws combinations. He is a risk taker. He's a hell of a body puncher. He has a large toolbox, I think, that can give a guy like Fundora.
Gary Russell feels the same way about Boots' prospects. He thinks Ennis possesses the physical skills required to defeat a fighter like Fender, particularly given his quickness and deft body hitting. However, Russell also admits that there are significant risks associated with this approach. Boots must constantly maneuver through Fundora's long punches to get to the body, which forces him to combine offense and defense at a very high level throughout the fight.
So it'd be hard to be unbiased, but Fundora is such a difficult puzzle. He's so long, and he's getting better. He's
Yes, he is.
improving. He's improving. He's learning how to use his size. He's using his jab. He's being more disciplined. He's not taking risks like he used to. Talk about a guy who used to allow people to hit him and then has figured out that you shouldn't do that at the highest level in that Brian Mendoza fight. But since then, he's been very, very good. So, yeah, I can understand why people would see him as the final guy because, again, with those physical advantages and the way that he's getting better, very, very difficult to deal with. You know, you got Boots, who's a fluid, side-switching, counter-punching, killer puncher. You got Virgil, who's a two-fisted destroyer, comes to get you. Fundora is the tower inferno. He's 6'9" or however tall he is. You got Josh Kelly, who's a slippery guy. So you've got a lot of different styles.
One thing about Boots is that he's versatile. He is very versatile. Now, yeah, you probably have kinks in his armor still. Because before the fight even happened, I posted a video. I said, man, look, I'm going with Boots. Xander, he's a tough contender. He's strong. He's eager. He's not going to deviate from the game plan. But Boots, he just freakishly good when it comes to his God-given talent, athleticism, and stuff like that. That's what's going to win him over the fight. But he got to not get hit with a hook. That's what he got hurt with. I saw it. Based off of the styles. Now, when you talk about styles, Fundora.
Hands down.
Fundora. Hands down. Hands down. He would have to punch up for one. For two, Boots, he really have to go chase his man down. It's always like they either the same height. The styles make it where as though they just like in the center pocket, middle of the ring, and they just going like skill for skill. You know what I mean? With this 7'8" tall guy, he like 7'8". He's not about to stand there. He might, but Boots is really going to have to show a different side of his ability. He's going to have to walk forward. He's going to have to move his head a lot more, not just be defensive discipline, but he's going to have to work in between. He's going to have to be defensive and offensively equally as good. You know what I mean? He's going to work it together simultaneously, dealing with Fundora. Because a lot of people forget that Fundora, honestly, he liked to fight in the inside.
Mm-hmm.
In camp, his last fight, when he fought Keith Thurman, it was training him to be a boxer. Like, come on, you're tall, man. I understand you like to shoot your uppercuts and walk in the inside and bully these guys because you're just a bigger man, but you got to be well-rounded. You got to work different angles. You got to be able to go into your bag and do different things. Or we got the height to keep a person at bay. And I feel like with Keith Thurman, that's what they worked on in camp. In that fight, he showed a lot of different looks. He shot his jab more. He even started shooting feints here and there. You know, he was cutting the ring off the right way. He wasn't just locking his hands and just walking in. He was cutting the ring off, the proper way, and etc. I feel like that.
There is a great deal of disagreement around forecasts for this battle. Trainer Stephen Bremen Edwards thinks the fight might end much sooner than most people imagine, despite the fact that some anticipate 12 hard rounds of non-stop combat. Boots might defeat Fundora in the first 3 rounds, according to Edwards' audacious prediction. He bases his argument on Fondora's defensive shortcomings, contending that despite his size, he is still a huge target with little head movement. Edwards thinks those vulnerabilities might be disastrous very instantly against a precise puncher like Ennis.
How does this fight look now that, Fundora is looking at this fight? Obviously people talk about him being the top guy. It's crazy because it's like Fundora's good in the inside too.
I think Boots, people are not gonna like this, right? I think Boots could get Fundora out there early. Because I think that stylistically, Fundora is too big of a target. And you give a sharpshooter like that a big target, he's going to be able to hit him anywhere. He's not going to be able to miss him. Boots those real good looping shots. Fundora's using his jab more and he's using the distance more, but he still can't move his head. Nobody 6'6" can move their head. That was the thing about Xander. that I was trying to tell you, Mills. I said, bro, we keep talking about Boots defense. Xander don't move his head. Xander moves his feet. He don't move his head. His head snaps back.
That, but I said that in our interview. I
Yeah,
said
and I'm like, oh, man. The media keep missing this. They keep talking about one dude defense, but the other dude gets hit constantly over and over with straight punches. With Fundora, he's been using his distance better, but his sense of anticipation as far as the punches coming in is pretty much the same. So he's a difficult guy. He has a very unique skill set because he's 6'6" with a jab and he has heart. But we got to remember, Fundora was knocked out brutally by Brian Mendoza. Like, that really happened. Everybody wants to act like it didn't happen, but it happened. And I think Boots, I'm not sure. I think Boots stopped Fundora within like 3 rounds, like on some Hagler Hearns.
There is much more to this potential December matchup than just a chance to win a championship. Bozy Ennis claims it's just the start of an ambitious long-term strategy. The goal is to win every major title at 154 pounds if Boot defeats Fundora before thinking about going up in weight again. Beyond that, there's still a huge potential. If Errol Spence Jr. takes care of his own future business, a major fight with Boots might turn into one of the biggest events in boxing. December is very important because of this. The NS team's meticulously constructed, uncontested championship roadmap could be completely derailed by a single defeat.
It's crazy. You got Josh Kelly, you got Xander Zayas, who's unified, Jaron Boots Ennis could be fighting Ortiz, Jamel Charlo's name is ringing bells from coast to coast. You got everybody at 154 getting busy. Fundora and Thurman gonna be scrapping. Zoo is back bubbling. I mean, Murtazaliev took a loss, but he had some inactivity. Doesn't matter, man. Josh Kelly deserved to win. Then there's rumors about Earl Spence coming back. So much talent at 154. It's crazy right now. You know what I'm saying? Just got to sit back and see how it all comes together. But I'm telling you, just from watching everybody perform this past weekend and what I know about the other fighters, like Jaron Boots Ennis really has a chance to go on and become undisputed. I'm going to tell you who I think is the biggest threat for Jaron Ennis. This may shock you, but I gotta put some respect on Sebastian Fundora's name. Fundora is a problem, man. That dude is 6'6", like a goddamn giraffe with boxing gloves, and he can hit. So Jaron Boots Ennis, man, I think he's gonna do very well. But if you ask me, I think Jaron Boots Ennis handles everybody. I think he runs into a serious problem with Fundora. I want to see how he breaks down that problem right there. The 6'6" problem, 80+ inch reach problem. How is Jaron gonna handle that? Now, I think that's who's gonna be the last two standing is Jaron and Fundora. But nonetheless, at least in the workup to that, let's enjoy what's going on because there is so much happening. Matter of fact, Josh Kelly just got invited to come to Puerto Rico and fight Xander Zayas. And Boots could fight anybody, just Hearn wants to.
The most important question is whether Ennis will once again demonstrate that exceptional skill and ring acumen can overcome any physical hurdle, or if Fundora's remarkable size, enhanced discipline, and changing technique will finally present Bruce with his most difficult test yet. Regardless of the result, the junior middleweight division's future may be altered. Leave a comment with your prediction.